What are the 6 powerful lessons from famous fiction authors you can use to become an even better content marketer? Have you ever heard of the sentence, the most powerful person in the world is a storyteller? It wasn't a famous author that said this, or even a poet. It was actually Steve Jobs, because he knew the power of storytelling for a business like Apple. And in the same way that it worked wonderfully for Apple, storytelling can work for your business as well. The problem is that storytelling, typically when it comes to business, has always been kind of a fluffy subject. Hasn't really sounded very pragmatic or useful for many business owners when I've seen people talk about it. But in this video, I'm going to change that. I'm going to give you some really practical tips from fiction authors themselves that you can easily apply in your business and in your content. Lesson number 1. Don't tell me the moon is shining, show me the glint of light on broken glass. That is a quote from Anton Chekhov, and essentially it means show, don't tell. And this is exactly what you should be doing in your content marketing. Don't tell people that you're honest and transparent. Show them by creating content around how much you charge or why you're more expensive than another company. That shows you're honest and transparent. Most people won't believe you if you just tell them you are something. You actually need to show them with your content, with your words, and actually prove to people, because they are cynical, you need to prove to them that you are what you say you are. So show, don't tell. Another great example of this is don't tell your customers your products are fantastic. Show your customers actually using them. Show them get excited about it. Show videos of them getting excited when they open it up or when they use your product. Just constantly think about showing, proving to people that your products and services are really good, that you are who you say you are, and that you stick to your values. The more showing you do in your content, the better it will be for your business. Lesson number 2. The most important thing for aspiring writers is for them to give themselves permission to be brave on the page. And this was by Cheryl Strayed. This could not be more true for businesses. The braver you are, the more rewards you get. Fortune really does favor the brave. And we know this in the content we create for ourselves, the content we create for our clients. The braver we are with that content, the better the results, the more leads and sales we get. And by brave, I don't just mean having opinions just for the sake of having opinions or being controversial for no good reason. What I mean is actually doing and saying things that your competitors aren't doing. And I remember one time when we ran a web design agency, we actually created an article called The Problems with WordPress. Now, the snag was we were actually a WordPress website design agency. So what we were doing is we were talking about all the problems with the platform that we offered, and that was a really scary article to actually hit publish on. But it had so many good things happen from it, because what it did do is it voiced the potential objections that people were having in their heads that might have stopped them from working with us, and it brought that to their attention, and we helped tackle that for them. So by being brave, by tackling the potential problems with our service, we actually opened up our service to more people and developed more trust and transparency. So it really does pay to be brave in your content. Lesson number 3. Never use a long word where a short one will do. And that's from George Orwell. And I think the most famous case of this, we're going to go back to Steve Jobs here, is the iPod, when it came out with the phrase 1,000 songs in your pocket. Now, I'm old enough to remember when MP3 players came out, and it was so confusing, the language that they used. It was so technical. I had no idea what any of it meant. It was literally just letters and numbers. That's all it was, and I had no idea what it meant. But when that came out, when the iPod came out and said you're going to have 1,000 songs in your pocket, everybody understood what that meant. No, it wasn't as technical or fancy as the other MP3 players out there, but that didn't matter because it spoke to what people really understood. So George Orwell was right and Steve Jobs was right. Make your language in your content really clear for your audience to understand, because it's your audience that buys your products and services, not your competitors. You're not out to impress them. Lesson number 4. Every sentence must do one of 2 things: reveal character or advance the action. Kurt Vonnegut. This is a problem I see with content all the time. It's full of fluff, especially at the start of content, where you see people kind of have that writing before they get into the writing, where they're just kind of meandering around the subject and they're not really getting to the point. You see that in content all the time. It happens in videos, it happens in podcasts. They're just ambling around trying to get into it. You should cut everything that doesn't, 1, advance action or deliver value, or 2, reveal character, as in tell stories stories, anecdotes, use your tone of voice, being funny. So you should always remember that in your content, you either give value or you do something that is really on brand and memorable and in your tone of voice. It should either be one of those things. Anything else outside of that can likely be cut. Lesson number 5, and this is one of my personal favorite content marketing lessons, particularly if you're a fan of short form video, and that is the very act of asking a question makes people want to stick around and find out the answer. And that was from the author Lee Child, who is the author of the Jack Reacher novels. Now, if you've ever read a Jack Reacher novel, you'll know that it opens up with a pretty grisly crime, let's put it like that. And Jack usually poses the reader a question: what happened here? And that is something that you should be doing every single time you create content. You should be posing a question. It doesn't have to actually be a question, but you have to get your audience to want to know the answer to whatever you're posing. So at the start of this video, I said, what are the 6 key lessons from fiction authors that you can apply to become a better content marketer? And you wanted to know what those 6 key lessons were. You wanted to know the answer. And that's what you should constantly be doing in your content. You should be posing questions that your audience are absolutely desperate to know the answer to, and then delivering on that answer. And the final lesson, one of my absolute favorites, is this: you can't use up creativity. The more you use, the more you have, by Maya Angelou. Now, this is one of my favorite quotes because it's so true. The more that you create content, the more that you write, the more that you do video, the more that you do podcasting, the better at it that you get. You can't use it all. So make sure that you're constantly investing time into it and getting better and better every time. Use your stories, your anecdotes, your experiences. Try and improve on your tone of voice all the time. Try and just enjoy it and have fun with it and actually look forward to it. This is the time where you get to really show off your skills and your knowledge and your expertise. So imagine when you've got that camera in front of you, or you're writing your blog post, imagine there's a person on the other side of that is so interested in what you've got to say. That's how you should show up every single time. And remember, you cannot lose creativity. The more that you do, the better at it you'll get. So remember these 6 rules. Show, don't tell, be brave, cut unnecessary words and jargon, show your personality, ask good questions, keep writing. Which one of these 6 do you think you're going to apply to your content marketing next? I'd love to know in the comments below. And don't forget to like and subscribe to get a notification for when we next released an upcoming video.